A wonderful Thursday night to you here on Midnight Movie Talk. You see it here, the MMT. We are underway. We are ready to go, and I am very excited tonight because you guys finally get to see the best film of 2022. Top Gun Maverick has been unleashed in theaters, and looky here. Let's pull it up. This is what I want to show you right off the bat that I think is really funny. So, I love when actors get out and they are in front of a film and they are like, let's go promote this thing. So look down here. This is a tweet that I just retweeted a moment ago from Seth Travis. He's in New York, and this is at AMC Lincoln Square. The other coast, as you know, I'm here in LA. This is in New York. And what's funny about this is we got Glenn Powell and we got Danny Ramirez coming up and introducing the film, right? And this is, I told you how much I love this kid, Glenn Powell. He's the guy on the right. And watch, these people are walking into the movie and they're like, let me just walk right by Glenn Powell and Danny Ramirez. Let me tell you how things are going to change.
A long pandemic in which
hey, yeah, okay, good to see you. Let's go find our seats. Who are you two? Here's how this is going to change soon.
And why we do it.
Is we're going to have a situation where Glenn Powell is going to be mobbed by people after this film because you guys have seen it. Hopefully you went out to see it tonight. If not, you're going to see it over this weekend. You've got 4 days, you've got Memorial Day underway. And this is a film that is going to, and sitting through it for a second time, really drove it home for me.
Everything you see in this
is a film that the average moviegoer, including me, is going to love. An A+ cinema score, no question about it. And what's cool about Top Gun Maverick is it is going to be an inclusive film, as I saw tonight at my screening, AMC Burbank. I sit down, 3 o'clock screening. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's about 90% full. That's a great sign for this film this weekend. But as I sit there, I look to my right. There's an elderly woman, probably well over 80. Let's just call her 85.
More than anything, we love talking about movies.
And then the 4 seats next to me are empty. Here comes a family.
Like being here,
family walks in,
night, there's nothing better. Please enjoy this thing.
Get
we put everything
mom,
we had
dad,
into
and
it,
2 young
and
kids.
it really is the ride
5
of a
and
lifetime, and we had to enjoy making
which tells me that this is going to be a 4-quad film. That's the question we had. We said, is this going to be a film that can draw the younger audience? And we said the big one is parents taking their kids. I saw it tonight. Also, you're going to get parents who are taking their teenage kids. So you get young, you get middle-aged, middle-aged, teenage. And then, of course, you'll get the one that's going to be interesting with Top Gun Maverick is, what about those kids that are, in their 20s? That's the demo that might be the hardest to access, but I still think they're in when word of mouth comes out on this, and word of mouth is going to be so strong for Top Gun Maverick. I mean, sitting through it a second time, I think I liked it more. And now that it's out, we can talk a little bit more about it, but one of the reasons that I love this film is simply that it loves the film that came before it. It loves Top Gun from 1986, so much so that it really ties in so well. I mean, very hard to do. For a screenwriter to tie a film in from 30, how many years is that? 30, whatever it is, years ago, you're talking about a difficult task. And what was able to be done by the filmmakers, and certainly it goes back to obviously director here is very talented and knows what he's doing with this film. It looks like a Scott film, doesn't it? When you watch this, you say, this looks like it could have come out of 1989, 1990, 1991, in that the really larger than life aesthetic that you get with those 80s films. This is truly the best film of 2022, along with X for me. There's no question about it. I want to get your reaction to this film. I know you're going to love it. I know there's no way someone's coming on here and saying, I did not like this film. And again, the demographics were so refreshing to see in something other than a Marvel movie. You had people literally from 5 to 85 right next to me. I look back behind me, 90% full, same thing. Demo all over the place, and word of mouth will be strong. This is going to be a huge success this weekend for the 4-day weekend. We'll talk about numbers here in a few moments. Also want to talk about Ray Liotta. As you guys know, passed away in his sleep last night, early this morning, 67 years old. I want to pull up his IMDb page, and I think that when you look at this man's career, right, when you look at what Ray Liotta did over, the course of a very, in Hollywood standards, this is an extremely long and very successful career that we saw from Ray Liotta. I mean, I go back even of late. You go back to some films that I really love from, it's been a decade now, but when you look at Ray Liotta, you're talking about Place Beyond the Pines for me is a film that I think he's very, very good in. Killing Them Softly, a film that has really grown on me over the years. I went back and revisited. Love the Greg Fraser cinematography on that and Dominic's direction. And it's just a tight film. Brad Pitt kicks ass in that film, but Ray Liotta, very, very strong. But let's look at some of the stuff he did. I mean, you go back and you talk, obviously, about Goodfellas. You're looking at Field of Dreams. Look at all these things that he has done going way back. We scroll this thing back to, obviously, to the 90s. What was his first thing? I was trying to think about that today. What was really his first breakthrough? I mean, when you go back here to these really early things, and this is really small stuff, right? St. Elsewhere, Another World, which was a soap opera. But look, he started back in like 1980, 81, okay? And then we see this all the time, right? I talk about film careers for actors, and it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. Great example is what we led the show off tonight with. Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell is a guy who's been in films. And you go back to Everybody Wants Some, 2014, and it's taken him time to get to where he is now going to be Glenn Powell. And people are not going to walk by him in the middle of a theater like they did in that clip I just showed you. They're going to be like, oh my God, it's Glenn Powell. Can I get your autograph? Now it's like, I don't know who this is. When you see Maverick, you know who the hell Glenn Powell is. When you look at Ray Liotta, again, it takes time to build. So he's building, he's doing soap operas, all these things. And then boom, you get Goodfellas, right, in 1990. And then you just get all kinds, because once you do Goodfellas, obviously he is a name. You get Copland, some of the larger films, Blow, Narc, go to, now we're into the 2000s, and you look at Slow Burn, Wild Hogs, small role. But you see more of these supporting roles, right, for him in Place Beyond the Pines, Killing Them Softly. And then he had this resurgence really of late where he started to show up. And I think he's filming this Dangerous Waters, which actually I'm not familiar with. Let's see. He's also in Cocaine Bear, by the way, which is coming out soon. I think it's a small film, Dangerous Waters. But he was working for a man to work, for an actress to work in Hollywood for as long as Ray Liotta did. What a career, and what a tragedy to see him now passed away at the age of 67 years old. So we can talk about that tonight as well. Also want to mention one other thing that I saw tonight, and I know it was attached, I guess, to the previous screenings. Have you heard about this movie Smile? You're like, what is Smile? It is a very wild, short teaser trailer for a horror film that comes out in September. I had to do the research on this. I go, what is Smile? I have no idea what this is. And as I look, I say, here it is. I looked, and here's the Deadline article, by the way, that happened to show up today. Perfect timing. By the way, here comes our movie. So it is a psychological thriller / horror about a doctor whose mind begins to turn on her after she witnesses a traumatic event which involves a patient. And that is, again, Paramount on September 30th, 32nd. Really unusual to see this happen. A trailer that debuts in a theater. That was the old way. Now everything's on the net, right? So it'll be on tomorrow. It'll be on probably YouTube tomorrow. But they wanted to get that kind of the initial buzz of the Smile. So that's really interesting. Also want to talk about this. Every time that I add something to the Midnight Movie Talk walls, we're going to tell you what it is. You guys see it over my shoulder here? There it is. The 2009 Best Film of the Year, 2010 Oscars, The Hurt Locker. You know what's very, talk about a story about a film. Hurt Locker was a film that debuted at Venice in 2008, okay? It was not purchased. Finally, it was purchased, I think, later that year, and by Summit, and they waited until the whole next year, right? That is unusual. Now you have awards films debut in Toronto or Telluride and Venice, and then they come out that year. It sat on a shelf for a year. Then it comes out, and it got Catherine Bigelow the first Best Director for a female. So The Hurt Locker is now on the Midnight Movie Talk FYC walls. And another thing I want to do as we do these, as you guys know, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. This is the random FYC item of the night. This is a pretty cool one. I was digging through. Again, a lot of stuff is boxed up. So this is I want to call it like a paperweight. You guys see it looks like a glass block. It's made of plastic. Do you guys see what that says? It says Dunkirk. So it's a Dunkirk like glass plate paperweight thing with some stills from the movie inside. Transparent, right? You can sort of see through that. It's really hard to show on with the camera glare there with the light, but that's a pretty cool item. But I think what's also neat about this one is it comes in this super cool Dunkirk shot with IMAX film cameras box, and then open it up. It's got more details on the inside, and then you put the piece of glass in like that. So there you go. So I'm going to grab some random things from the shelf and show you. So that was a cool one for tonight, FYC items. Let's get to the comments. Let's get right into it. I'm so excited to talk about this film, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, when you really look at this film, you're looking at a film that everybody is going to love, except for Scott Mendelson, which came to our movie Twitter event tonight. I tried to convince him, please change your score from rotten to fresh, and he wouldn't do it. He's not going to do that. But I don't know what he saw, because the film I've seen now twice, I say to myself, this is a great film. It really is. And the reason is that the highs are so stratospherically high. They're really pinging the top, and it delivers everything you want. And I think, isn't that what we want? We can call it fan service. We can call it nostalgia, right? We can call it all those things. But at the end of the day, if a film gives you everything you want and you leave the theater feeling happy and feeling fulfilled with what you just watched, that is the ultimate success. So Top Gun Maverick is absolutely a success. And I'm just, again, shocked that Mendelson gave it a 5 out of 10. I don't know how you do that. For me, it's a 9.5 out of 10, certainly for what it is. And the average person who was sitting around me was thrilled watching this film tonight. I enjoy watching people's faces. I looked around and like, man, these people are really enjoying this film, which made me feel good. Let's get into some comments. Hopefully you guys had a chance to see it. I know not everybody runs out to see Maverick opening weekend. The Marvel people run out opening night, right? We know that. But will they come out and run out to see Top Gun Maverick? We're going to see an opening of 4 days of at least 100, okay? I think it's going to be closer to 125 or higher. We're going to find out tonight with the number from Thursday, which will include Tuesday. Tuesday night, that preview screen. You have Tuesday rolled into Thursday. So we'll have a pretty solid number tonight. I mean, my 3 o'clock almost sold out. The 7:15 was 90% sold out. This is going to be a successful film. The question is, how high will it go? Can it get almost to the Batman numbers? We're going to find out. But I really think you guys, if you don't know the appeal of Top Gun Maverick to people that are over the age of, let's just say 40, then you're misinformed. You don't understand how big this film was for everybody who grew up in the 80s. And now, especially with the way this film not only brings back the nostalgia aspect of that, but also pushes the story forward in a way that will make it possible to make Top Gun 3, which I think is going to happen based on this weekend. Weekend's going to be a big number, a really big number. Let's get into some comments here. And again, I think really at the end of the day, I really just want to hear what you think about this film. Oh my gosh, we already have someone who spotted me at AMC Burbank. Yes, we were there. At any time, Gone Girl, listen, if I am anywhere near AMC Burbank 16, there's someone that looks anything me wearing a soccer kit, it's going to be me. I spend so much time there. Next time, come up and say hi. There's no question that I would have absolutely been thrilled to see you there, especially to see this film. I hope that you did love it. I'd love to get more of your insight. Let me know what you thought about the film. I think the story really is so perfect because, again, it just brings that film from 86 and stretches it into today and doesn't feel forced. It feels, I think the only thing that I will say is Penny, which obviously the relationship, we didn't get the relationship we had in the initial Top Gun. That feels a little bit when they first meet in the bar, right? That's a little bit of, we've got to make this work. You can tell they're really struggling to get that kind of piece together. Once that happens, I think it works. But that's the one thing that I think, because they didn't want to bring Kelly McGillis back. So when Kelly McGillis is out, you have to create a new love interest, which is based on a character that's like a throwaway line from the first one. So that was kind of the one thing that I thought was a little bit of a struggle. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, hello. Good evening to you, sir. A pleasure to have you on here on this Thursday night. Long time listener, first time caller. This is like AM radio, right? Call in way back when. You can finally stay up this late to watch live. Good for you. If not, hey, you know what? This is why these things are recorded. We can watch these anytime. That's how these things go. So yes, thank you for watching here tonight. Really appreciate it. Top Gun Maverick, simply put, perfect. I agree with you. It is, for what it is, it's a perfect film. There's very little I have to say about it except for the Penny relationship. You know, that's the one thing that I think when you look at the film, it's like maybe, but then it still works. And it does, yes, check all the boxes. And I think that is really what you're looking for here is when you're talking about a film and you're trying to, you know, again, you do want to check the boxes. It sounds like a bad thing. But it's not, because you want to give the audience exactly what they want. You also want to challenge them, certainly. And I think this film doesn't spoon feed. It makes it to the point where you know who all the characters are, you know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and you know what the mission is. And it all delivers that to the point that it works, and it doesn't try too hard. Some films really have to labor at trying to tell you the story they're trying to say, like Crimes of the Future that I saw on Tuesday night. That's a film that is not an easy film to tell, and it also really felt like it was a chore for that film to do what it wanted to do. Top Gun Maverick feels like it flows so well, even from the opening scene. We get Harold Faltermeyer's initial Top Gun theme, right? That, and then bleed it right into Danger Zone. How perfect is that? Literally, that was that beginning, that opening of Top Gun Maverick. I can't even envision a better way to do it. It's a very 80s, 90s opening to a film, right? With the credits, opening credits. You don't usually get that. These days, it's kind of like straight in. This was more of a like, let's give a love to the original and play two songs that you really obviously adore. That's why you're here. And you start with the Top Gun theme. It's like, winner. That's it. It's exactly it. It's a perfect beginning to a film. Back to Gone Girl. I wasn't wearing it. There's no way it couldn't have been me, because I always have a soccer jersey or kit on. A collared shirt, no. But you saw it on Monday. You saw it on early screen. Good for you. And the audience was loving it. Again, chemistry between all the characters absolutely works. And I think the other thing about this film is, you saw it on Monday, is that you saw it with the crowd on Monday. I know people that saw it Tuesday. I now have seen it on Thursday with a crowd, and then I stepped in to see a little bit of the IMAX screening like an hour after to see what they kind of felt at the beginning. Everyone was pumped like a Marvel movie, right? You got people are screaming out at the screen and cheering, and yeah, this is all huge. And wait till they get to the end of the film, because that's the beginning of the film. When you get to the end of the film, the way it all ties together, and again, I really think that the way they use the Lady Gaga song is perfect. And I think when you look at Zimmer, and you got Faltermeyer's work in there, you have the songs that they picked, but when you look at how they weave Hold My Hand in throughout that entire film, right? If you listen, go back, and when you watch the film and you know the song as well as I have, because I've listened to it about 1,000 times because I really love the song. Listen to when the film, you hear Hold My Hand, not just in the bar early on, but literally in the orchestral cues throughout the film. So that was another really smart move. I think ultimately when you look at Top Gun Maverick, you're looking at a film that is very heady in how it approach a sequel. And how often do we see films that aren't that way, right? The sequel feels forced. The sequel doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel connected to the original, or maybe too connected. In this case, it's connected just to the right amount. And then we also have all the new characters, including Glenn Powell, who I told you is going to be a huge star. I mean, Glenn Powell, if you could buy stock in an actor, I will tell you right now, you buy stock in Glenn Powell. You go back and look at Everybody Wants Some. Everybody Wants Some is from 2014. Let me pull up Glenn Powell's IMDb, because this is another example. We just talked about Ray Liotta. This is another example of a guy who's been at it for a while, and now finally it's going to pay off big time for him. Let me pop it up. So this is his IMDb page. Let me stop this and pull it up. So Glenn Powell, again, he's in his like early 30s. And this is a kid that just has that look. When you watch this film, okay, when you look at this, you are seeing a kid that is a star. Okay, let me pull down the comment here. Okay, so look here. Let's go down to Glenn Powell. So he's known for Hidden Figures. He played John Glenn. Everybody Wants Some. Very underrated film. Expendables 3. I forgot he was in that. Dark Knight Rises. He was Traitor number 1. Something tells me that was a really small role. I'm willing to bet that was a tiny role. But if you look here, Most Dangerous Game he's shooting right now. He's been around. He did voice for Apollo 10.5, but you go all the way back to Glenn Powell, and we're down in the 2003 Spy Kids 3. So he was a child actor. It happens all the time. Fast Food Nation, I remember that. And then you just go through CSI Miami, small role, and then all of a sudden it hits about 2014, Expendables 3, Everybody Wants Some, 2016, Ride Along 2. Scream Queens, the TV series, but for films, Hidden Figures. Once you start to make a film or two, then all of a sudden you're going to see somebody pop. And that's exactly what happened here with Glenn Powell, is that he is now at the point where he is going to pop. And this is the one that's going to do it. I've been waiting for this because Glenn Powell, again, you go back and you watch Everybody Wants Some. Like, this kid's a star and he's got the goods. And most times you watch a lot of movies, and you sometimes see people that blow you away, and other times you see people that are forgettable. Glenn Powell is not that. He is very much of a star. And I go back to, I got to pull that up again. This is hilarious. Let's go. I got to watch the Glenn Powell on there. And the guy comes walking in to the theater, and he's literally like, walks right by and like, who are you two guys? They don't even know they're part of the movie. Pull it up here. I mean, it's hilarious. So there's Glenn Powell. He's doing his thing, and then these guys are walking. These guys, there you go. See, let me just go to my seat. Yeah, all right. Yeah, good to see you. This guy's like taking a seat there, and why we do it. They're like, yeah, who are you two? Once you get done watching the film, they would mob Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell could not stand there,
and you'll see
the movie.
What we do in this
before
movie.
the movie,
it's exceptional.
There he
not
is.
like the acting.
That's not like, but that's such a
that.
smart
I'm
PR
saying
play. And I
Tom
give
Cruise
Paramount credit for that. I hope they're doing that out here
Everything
in LA
you see in this movie
because I
is
know
real.
Cruise is probably off
emphasize that
probably
every
not here.
single action
But even if you
sequence
get
in
Jennifer
this series
Connelly to come in,
practically shot.
anybody,
We're in the
Glenn
back of
Powell's in New
F-18s,
York, and
really
along with Ramirez,
staying
you could
G's,
get the
I think
young
that you
actress
guys
who's
picked the
really strong in
perfect
this film.
place to experience
You
that.
could get John Hamm to walk
Watching
in
it
to
in
AMC
IMAX
Burbank.
is nothing
It's just
better.
really
So
good
thank you guys for
PR
coming out.
because this kind of
A
thing
day
that
before
goes
it's technically
around
gets
right
released,
now.
so you guys
They're
are
saying,
day
"Oh my
ones.
gosh, the actors are here," and
And
everyone
enjoy.
gets even more excited for the film.
This is
So I
like
think that's
truly,
where
we
that's
love
a
making
smart
movies
move.
more than
So
anything. We love
Paramount,
talking about
KG,
movies, and I know
obviously
like
the
you
agents
guys,
and PR and publicity,
like
all that
being
stuff, they're
here
in on this
opening
too.
night. There's
But these are the kind of things I love to see. They
Please
did that for
enjoy
Bond.
this thing. We
They
put
had
everything
Rami
we had
Malek
into it,
and
and
Daniel
it really
Craig
is the
showed
ride of
up at
a lifetime.
AMC
We had to
16.
go
I was
make
literally
it.
at the theater next door, and they're in there introducing the screening of No Time to Die. But it's a really smart move. I give them credit for doing that. It was red. It was the same shirt. It was the same shirt I have on. That's so funny. I'm gonna see. Listen, Gongro, I'll be there probably to watch Firestarter for a sixth time this weekend. I will hit me up on Twitter and I'll tell you when. Swing by. I mean, literally, that's what we do. I go to see Firestarter and or random films at AMC 16. So I'm so excited to have another LA person out here that we can hang out. We had a great turnout here tonight for Movie Twitter, by the way. I mean, we had at Movie Twitter tonight, we had 12 of us. I mean, that's a good number for people that were like, we get there at 5:00. We had a big table. Everyone's drinking, having a good time. And then we walk across to watch Top Gun Maverick. I already saw the film. I went to see it earlier and then went and met up. And then then the other rest of the group went later. But again, these are these fun things. I love doing these meetups and social things. Fantastic. Anytime you're out here, let me know. Let's go to Gavin. Good evening to you, sir. Just saw Top Gun Maverick. Not as high on as others. Okay. Tell me why, Gavin. I want to know why. But definitely an enjoyable movie that most people will love. No question. That's for sure. A modern 80s movie in the best way. 100% I agree with that. It feels like it's absolutely an 80s movie dragged into 2022, but again, done so without it feeling like too forced. Okay. So again, so many sequels do feel forced. They feel like it's a money grab. I don't feel like this was the right amount of time. It's a long time, but it was the right amount of time because I think the sequel we would have gotten, if we would have gotten one in like 1991, would have been completely different from obviously than what we got. This is a very smart film. Gavin, I want to know why you didn't like it. Or maybe not as much as you would have. I'm a little surprised. Everybody I know likes the film a lot. So to hear Scott Mendelsohn doesn't, okay, that's one person I tried to convince him. I said, listen, Scott, you're wrong. You're wrong, Scott. Don't do this. Cell phone, listen, first of all, cell phone, I'm not going to do any spoilers. I promise. I promise you I will not do spoilers. I don't want to do that. I just, the beginning of the film, I can talk about just using the Top Gun theme and then Danger Zone. Jeff, again, Tom Cruise will definitely be in the conversation for Best Actor. It feels like it's his time. He really brought it all here. The scene that he does it all with, I'm not going to do a spoiler. I just promised cell phone I wouldn't do it. But the scene is, you guys know, where he's in the room and he's got to do the scene with someone from the original Top Gun. When he draws on that emotion, there's a moment, and you guys know, you've seen it. If you haven't, you'll see it. You won't miss it. That moment, that's the Oscar moment, right? That's the moment, the FYC moment where you go, there's Tom Cruise up for Best Actor. This film will work as an awards film. All the films behind me, if you're new to the show, they're FYC screeners, which means for your consideration. These are all films that the studios thought would be in the conversation for awards, except for Wonder Woman 84. I don't know what the hell they were doing with that screener. Please excuse it, but it's there as a total joke because the film's horrible. But when you look at Top Gun Maverick, there's going to be a screener for that behind me. If they still send them out this year, there's rumors they're not going to. They're going to just do streaming. Please send screeners. I want a Top Gun Maverick screener. But it will be a PGA film, which is the Producers Guild, right? They like a lot of populist films. And then you're also going to look, once it gets that, then you're talking about an Oscar film. It's not too early. It is May. I understand it's a very long road. It's almost, 10 months. Call it 9.5, 10 months. It's a long time. But if Paramount plays it right, they'll be able to drag this all the way through, because it's going to need a little break after it comes out. But it's going to have like at least a month of really great box office. Maybe longer, because again, they gave it a 4-month window. This is not going to be on Paramount Plus for 4 months, right? 120 days. That is a very long window. And what that means is that they are going to be able now to force people to go to a theater to see the film. Okay. I know some of you don't feel safe. That's your prerogative. Most people I know do, and they are back. I'm seeing fewer and fewer masks out here in LA. At one time, I would say the audience was 50% masked. Now I'd say it's probably 20% masked, and that's LA. I think in other places it's way lower than that. LA's different. New York's different. But if you're somewhere else, you're probably seeing masks at 20% or less. So I think people are ready to come back to movies. And this is the movie that will get a lot of people that haven't been in a movie theater in a long time. And you know who they are. They're the older audience. Older audiences are the most reluctant to come back. They're the ones that probably feel the least safe. The younger folks, they're like, yeah, whatever. I mean, right? Even youngish like me, okay? Youngish. Is that you just go, whatever. Life's take risks, okay? It's part of life. I say this all the time on the stream. If you live a life where you are not taking risks and you are not willing to assume risk, knowing that if I were to leave my house right now and get in my car and drive down to Burbank 16 again, which is about 7 minutes from my house, something could happen. A car could get in an accident. Car could run out of gas. It wouldn't, but whatever. It's risk. You take risk in life. And you have to understand that. And I think that most people have assumed that. They've realized that now. They've gotten back into it. And you see it tonight at the movie theater. Again, I saw the woman next to me had to be in her 80s. And I bet that's her first movie back in a movie theater in a long time. Because this is a movie that drags in that audience, draws them in from 1986, 30, what's the math? Someone help me. 36 years ago. 36 years ago, Top Gun. 36 years later, we have the sequel. That's a big jump. You get older audiences are going to come, and I can't wait for that to happen, to see the number this weekend. I hope that it is at 125 for 4. That would be very good. Gone Girl, watch it. This is the kind of thing that will get you banned on Midnight Movie Talk. Firestarter was horrible. I admit that. But it's enjoyable and laughable. You know why Firestarter's good? I've seen it now 5 times because, frankly, I have AMC A-List. It's 90 minutes long, and Zac Efron is dreamy, okay? Do I have to be honest? He's dreamy. But here's the truth. The Firestarter cat scene is worth the price of admission. I love cats. I had cats when I grew up. I do not have a cat now, but if I get a pet, it'll be a cat. I do not advocate violence against animals. That said, the scorched cat scene in Firestarter is hilarious. Okay, Gone Girl, you have to admit that everybody in your screening was dying. I mean, I've seen it now 5 times. Every time that the scorched cat scene shows up, it's pure laughter. It's riotous. And by the way, when Halloween comes around here in what is that now? 5 months? 5 months from now, I've already decided what I'm going to go for Halloween. I'll be the only person. I need some help. Down the road, I'm going to get suggestions how to do this. I want to be the scorched cat from Firestarter. It's like a heap of ashes. It's so good, you guys. You got to trust me on this. Just go watch Firestarter. It's on Peacock just for the cat scene. It's fantastic. Carlos, good evening to you. Thor Ragnarok, heavily used immigrant song in the trailers, and then it was featured twice in the actual movie. Do you think Sweet Child will be in the new film? Probably, knowing Taika. We're roughly in the same era, right? Taika and I. And I feel like that's a song that we love and cherish and grew up with, although I'm not the biggest Guns N' Roses guy. But that said, it's a song that was part of our youth. It just is, right? As much as I don't love Poison's Every Rose Has Its Thorn, it's a song that every time I hear it, I'm like, that's a pretty damn good song. That's the way I am with Sweet Child of Mine. So maybe, I mean, it's interesting. I think that clearly that's his thing, right? You can see the aesthetic of that is so 80s, right? It looks like heavy metal. If you look at the box for heavy metal and then compare it to Thor, right? Well, this one, Love and Thunder, it's literally like, my God, you just ripped it off. And it's cool. Anything 80s, hello. But that's not the reason I love Top Gun Maverick. But anything 80s, I'm totally down for. So we'll find out about that. I know this, Carlos, I know this, that Thor 4, Love and Thunder, will be the biggest movie of the summer. I think even over Jurassic World and even over Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick's in that mix. Those are your three big ones. Then you have other ones in there like Nope. You have, which I think is a real wild card on that, right? Jordan Peele is the film, if it's really accessible film, which it looks like with Aliens, and if they play it more along the lines of a very accessible traditional film, which Jordan Peele, I don't know if we haven't seen that so much. Candyman, even though I know he was the producer and writer, it didn't directly direct that, but still, that's his most accessible story because I know he had so much to do with that story, right? Candyman. So I hope that Nope is along those lines. If it is, Nope is a wild card this summer. Wild card box office right now. Yes, I have heard something, Jeff, about Pearl. They are test screening Pearl right now. So Pearl comes out, I believe, is it October? It is the prequel to X. X is not just so good, Jeff. X is, I mean, it is so good, but it is literally tied with Maverick for my top film of the year. It's X and it's Maverick. Those are the two best films I've seen this year. X, they're totally different, clearly, but the direction, Ty West direction on X is my favorite direction of the year. It'll be in my top 5 directors of the year. There's no way he'll get knocked out. And I think also Maverick, more overall, is just a crowd pleaser. I mean, they're obviously completely different genres, completely different feels, all that stuff. But Pearl is being test screened right now. What's interesting about A24 is they do test screenings, but they don't usually change their films very much, if at all. They do their test screens largely just to get some idea of, will an audience like this film? They just did Bodies, 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 which comes out, I think, this summer, right? They're going to try to figure out, does that film work for the average moviegoer? And that way they know, they can have an idea of how much it's going to make. Because again, cinema score indicates how well liked a film is. Obviously, word of mouth. So when I say Top Gun Maverick's going to get an A+, it is. So A+ cinema score means word of mouth is going to be huge and going to grow, and it's going to continue to stay. So what's going to happen with Top Gun Maverick, let's say it opens with 100 million this weekend, okay, for 3. Next weekend, it's going to drop, but it might drop to just 50 million. So a 50% drop versus a 60, 65, heaven forbid, 70% drop. That's not going to happen with Top Gun because the word of mouth is strong. What you saw with Doctor Strange is that the word of mouth was not strong and it went down fast. That is word of mouth that's bad or neutral. This film will have very positive. So they're trying to figure out with Pearl is, do audiences like the film? But yeah, X was lights out film, and direction was really where it's at. Gavin, emotional bits didn't click for you. Okay, this is talking about Maverick. Nostalgic moments like Great Balls of Fire didn't work. I would say that felt a little forced. Of all the things in the film, that is the one. That said, it still didn't not work for me because of the direction of the film and the way the edits there worked for me. But I understand what you're saying. Glenn Powell, stud. I mean, absolutely. Wanted more from him, supporting cast. I do want to see a Hangman movie. After watching this, you're like, give me a Hangman movie, please. Now, the kid's a star. He's going to be big. He's going to be huge. And he's been waiting for this. So I'm excited for Glenn Powell. The romance, you might listen, Gavin, you might not think it's needed, but here's the reality is that they want to get the female audience to, really get attached to the film. And that's how you do it. I think it worked. I think initially Conley and Cruise, it felt forced because obviously you guys know it's based on a one night stand that's mentioned in the original Top Gun. So it's not the original romance from Top Gun because as you guys know, they went in and just said, we're going to go in a different direction. And with a few people, like even Meg Ryan's not back. I don't know if they even approached Meg Ryan, but she's in the film, but she's in the 86 version. She's just like a flashback. So it's interesting. I want to know who was not asked and who passed. I would imagine Meg Ryan passed. I could see her wanting to have something in there, but it might be such a small role because there's really no really large role for Goose's, ex-wife or wife. I mean, obviously they were married when he died. Let's go to Carlos again. Favorite spot to sit in the theater? Dead center or back section? Tonight I sat close to the front. I was in the top front 4 rows. I actually like the front more. I used to like the rear for a long time. And then I realized I like to be up on it. Now, I don't want to be in that first row craning your neck like this, right? You don't want to be like that, especially on IMAX. But I don't mind having, whatever that is, like a 45-degree elevation. I don't mind. I watched the IMAX. I sat through IMAX moments ago, the beginning of the film again. And I was in like row 2, which was a little bit pushed back, and then row 1, but it was close. I didn't have a problem with it. I might have in the past, but I really didn't have a problem. I think I like to be up on it. That way there's no distractions in front of you too. Because whenever you have people in front of you, you get someone who gets a phone out, right? At press screenings, it doesn't happen. But at a screening like this, someone gets a phone out. And then boom, you're like, damn it, put your phone away. But if you're in row 3, nothing in front of you but just the screen. So there's fewer distractions. So as over the years, I have said now closer. I like to sit about row 5 or 6. The walk row on the Dolby is where I like to be. That's row D out here at Dolby Burbank. IMAX walk row, which is I think row D or E, the 5th row there. Gavin, yeah, all that said, you still liked it. I'm sure, of course. And I don't, you have to. I mean, overall, it's still, you're going to like it. You just might not have an A+ on it. You probably sounds like you'd like an A- on that if you were a cinema score. This year's Dominion, Trevor wanted to prove he can nail. We're going to find out, I'm really curious what's going to happen with Dominion because I'm hearing some really mixed things. There's been no one can talk about it, but they've screened the film. And I'm not hearing people come out and raving about it, which is concerning. But at the end of the day, it's critic proof, right? This is a movie. Jurassic World's a movie that will do well regardless of reviews. Reviews will help, like it will help Maverick, okay? If Maverick were a bad film, we wouldn't be talking about $100 million debut. The reason we are is because the reviews are very strong. It's almost, 95% plus on Rotten Tomatoes. And then the audience score was 99 when it first bowed. I bet you it's still way up there. Let me pull that up. It's got to be way at the top of that. Let's see. Where are we at? Where are we at here on Top Gun? It's trending. Well, what a surprise. Okay, let's see. What we got here on Top Gun Maverick? Top Gun Maverick's at 97 for critics. Okay, so 97 for critics. Let me pull it up. 97 for critics, and let's see what the audience is. Audience score right now is 99. Okay, so you guys see that. So 97 and 99. That's really great. But here's the truth is that Jurassic World, it doesn't matter if these numbers are like 71 and 86, right? I mean, the audience is never going to go that low on a Jurassic Park movie or Jurassic World, whatever, you know what I mean? And then you talk about critics. Let's say the critics are down to 60 something. It's not going to matter with Jurassic World. Top Gun Maverick, this is huge. I mean, when you start talking about 97 and 99, right? You're talking about numbers that are almost perfect. And for a major blockbuster to be at 97% of all critics, 257 reviews. And Scott Mendelsohn, I'm sitting next to him, talked to him. We enjoyed a beverage together tonight before the movie. I still don't know why he gave it a rotten, but there are 7 critics who've given it a rotten, and one of them is Scott. And there it is, Top Gun's Maverick is an audiovisual treat, the generally well-made summer blockbuster, even as it becomes a Rise of Skywalker-style nostalgic ode to itself. I mean, I understand. I get what he's saying. You know, I have no problem when I read reviews and say I understand where you're coming from. I just didn't have nearly as big a problem with that. With the film. I mean, I think the Great Balls of Fire, I think the romance, there's some things here that don't exactly work perfectly, but I think it's forgivable. Okay. And that's why the number here again is at a 97 critic and 99 audience. That's insane. It's 1,000+ reviews and the audience score is at 99. I mean, that is, I don't know what the record is, but we've got to be way, way up there. The average rating's only an 8.3, which is a little surprising. I'd have that closer to a 9. But again, it's the overall recommendation. This is a film that is going to be a high number, and I think Jurassic World is going to be a much lower number. Right? Jurassic World will be a lower number here and both sides. Tomato meter, let's go like 65, and let's go audience score 82. I'm just throwing those out. I think that's where we end up. So we're going to find out what happens with Dominion, but I know it's going to make a ton of cash. So don't worry about that. All right, Carlos. Let's see. All right, yeah, we just did that. Okay, cool. Cell phone. Marvel in Phase 4 is having good villains. Christian Bale, absolutely. You know that he's going to absolutely kill it. And then we've got people underestimating how good a screenwriter Taika is, and his style is a match for Marvel. I would agree 100% on that. So he has creative control. I think that Taika, that's a great point. Taika has more creative control than a lot of directors in the MCU because you can really see his vision now, especially with Love and Thunder. But Marvel likes what he's doing, okay? And you earn trust. That's how life works, right? You earn trust, and he has earned Marvel's trust. And they're letting him make, I would imagine, largely the movie that he wants to make. That said, Kevin Feige ultimately has the say on how the film's going to go. So, but Taika is a director that seems like he's very easy to get along with. He's I've talked to him a number of times. Very laid back, very shoot the shit kind of guy, and that's super cool. If you ever heard him in an interview, he is basically his character that you see in Free Guy, okay, in real life, and in a good way, not in the jokey way of Free Guy. But I think Marvel likes that. They like the guy clearly. Back to where you sit at a theater. I like sitting closer to the front. Agreed. I love feeling immersed. That's what I was thinking tonight when I sat at the IMAX. I was in row 2 with Mendelsohn, watching the trailers and the beginning of the film again, because I saw it again at 3, so I was in to see it again like an hour later. And I enjoyed being closer more than I thought I would, because that's the only seats that were available. So I said, I'll just sit right here and look up. And it's immersive. And again, nobody is in your face when you are looking around looking for cell phones or anything. You just have the screen. That's it. It's you and the screen, which is a good thing. A couple more, and then we're going to wrap this thing here on a Thursday. Again, thank you for watching Midnight Movie Talk. We're back here on Sunday night as well. That'll be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday with your reaction and all the stuff that you guys want to talk about, and certainly box office on Sunday. Hopefully I have some good news for Top Gun Maverick. Can't wait to see what my friend thinks of Top Gun Maverick when I visit her in Texas on Monday and see the movie. You're going to see it again. I mean, you wouldn't see it again if you hated it, right? You wouldn't take your friend if you hated it, right, Gone Girl? That's what we're saying, is that you now are dragging somebody else. I don't know if she wanted to see it, but I'm just going to assume that she didn't, and you said, hey, go see it. You got to see Top Gun Maverick. That's what's going to happen over the next several days. When I talk to you on Sunday night, we're going to have that kind of result. We're going to have a number of a 3-day of at least 100, maybe a 4-day of 125. Those are the numbers I'm looking for. Let's hope it happens, because, again, this is a great film that will appeal to 99% of the audience, as we just saw from Rotten Tomatoes. A 99% audience score tells me that this film is going to play very well throughout the weekend, starting tonight. I'll see you back here on Sunday again, guys. Thank you for watching Midnight Movie Talk. I'll see you on Sunday night. Like, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. See you Sunday. Good night to you.